hello there. My name is Eric. I am the host of the Paranormal Highway channel. Today, we got a special story. It's a story that, honestly, I've never heard about. And honestly, I've never even heard the guest who's coming on here, named Ron from Cosmic Neighbors, ever talk about before. So this is a brand new story about the Hat Man. The Hat Man. Yes, I'm intrigued just like you guys are. What is the Hat Man? So this is a very cool... I think it's cool because I've never heard it before. Now, this is in the paranormal world. The question's always been, is there life after death? Is energy alive after we die? What happens when we die? Will this story from Ron, give me the answer I'm looking for? I don't know. But will it give me one step closer to the belief that our energy does go somewhere? That's what I'm hoping for. And remember, if you're brand new here, please subscribe, hit that alert bell, hit the like button. So how the show works, how it starts is I'm going to bring Ron up uninterrupted. He's going to tell the story uninterrupted from the beginning to the end. And once he's done, I'm going to bring myself up with Anthony from Unidentified S4 channel, and we're going to ask him 2 questions each. No less, no more. 4 questions based on the story he just told us. So this is very exciting because this is something totally new to me. The Hat Man. What is the Hat Man? So strap in, grab some coffee, get some popcorn, because I'm ready for this.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? So it was around 1996. I was working in the World Trade Center, started my IT career there. I just moved to Queens, New York, and I was familiar with the neighborhood, but those were in the days where I used to go hang out at night, late, then get up early, go right to work and do it all over again. But this one night, I was probably a block and a half away from my house. And as I'm walking down, we'll just call it Main Street, right? I just see maybe the corner that's up ahead of me, right? It's probably around maybe 200 feet away. And it's late. It's around, I don't know, maybe 1, 2 a.m. Nobody's out, but I just see somebody come from like the side street 200 feet ahead of me, the block that I live on, that I have to turn on. I just see somebody walk and just like go across the street. But now with cars, as I'm walking, there's all cars parked, so I don't pay attention to that anymore. I just assume somebody's crossing. So as I continue walking, I notice that this person that I thought it was is standing in the street. And there, when you park your cars, on the driver's side, that's always facing the street. Well, that's where this thing was standing. It was standing right by the hood of the car in the street, the very first car on the corner, the last car on the block. So as I keep going, walking home, now I'm about 100 feet from the corner and where this thing is, where I have to turn. It turns towards me, and that's when I realized that this thing was all black. This person, I still think it's a person, was in all black, and they had a hat on. And whenever I have told this story, and it's been only a few times because it's really done a mental job on me, I try to compare it to, if anybody's familiar with wrestling, that one guy, his name is The Undertaker. That's what this reminded me of. It was a big person or a big black entity that I think it's an entity now. Excuse me. Had the same exact hat that Undertaker wrestler guy has. All black, but 100 feet away, I don't see like what this person looks like yet. So as I start getting closer, this thing now starts walking towards my direction, but it's hard to explain, but he's running his hands on the cars. And he's just walking very slow. Now, I start getting nervous because I don't know what's going on here, who this person is. Because again, I still think this is just a person. And I try not to look. I'm trying to just play it off and just keep walking straight. But as I get closer, I can't help but glance over. And as I do, I can't see anything. No face, nothing. I mean, it was blacker than black. A black hole, just dark, nothing there. And I'm not saying this was a shadow, because it didn't look like a shadow. It looked like a physical being, but it was so black. But now what I notice is, just as I'm almost ready to, like I'm on the sidewalk, this thing is in the street still on the other side of the car, on the parked car. As I'm walking, now it starts turning towards me, like looking at me. So now I know it's focused. That's when I look and I see it's just pitch black. I turn my face and my heart starts just pounding, maybe 200 beats a minute, I would think, at minimum. Anyway, I turn the corner. My house is the very first house once you turn the corner, probably another 50 feet from the corner. So I'm shaking. So now I grab my keys. I'm fumbling, looking for my keys. I'm walking. Now, just as I get in front of my house, there's a gate that you have to open, the front gate. Then you walk in. There's about little 4 or 5 steps, and then the door to get into the house. So just when I'm going to open the gate, I decide, like I felt brave, I took a look to see if this thing was there. I don't see anything. So now when I look down at the gate one more time to open it, and I take one more little peek, it's standing right on the corner facing me, just standing. And I mean, this thing, big. Like, and when I say big, I just mean like, I think 6'5", 6'8", something like that. A big Undertaker type person. That's what it looked like, but just black. And it had that long trench coat, like all the way, I would think, down to the ankles. And that exact hat, you didn't see any features of skin, face, anything. Just all black. But the silhouette of it, you knew what it was wearing. Anyway, so now on that second look, when I see it there, now I just froze. So I'm shaking with my keys. And then the worst fear happened. This thing just started, it took off like an Olympic dash, just right towards me, just full sprint. And that scared me so much that when I went to run up the stairs, I dropped my keys. And when I turned, as it was right there, that's when I just woke up with my heart just pounding. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. But I didn't sleep that night, and I didn't sleep the next night. And I didn't sleep the next night because what happened was, at this time, I used to work in the World Trade Center. I think I mentioned that. And I lived on the second floor of the house. And I had a downstairs neighbor. I'll just use her name, Kelly. Well, when I went to work, and she also worked in the same company I did in the World Trade Center. So when I went to work the next morning, she came up to me and she would always bring me coffee, or I would do the same for her. As we were chit-chatting, she just asked me a couple of times, like, is everything okay? And I said, yeah, I'm fine. She goes, you just look so pale. You just look flush, whatever. So I told her, I asked her, you want to go grab some breakfast? Like that, it's on me. And she said, sure. So we went downstairs, cafeteria, and we're sitting there. Now, I'm still shaking. I feel this as I'm thinking about it. I started shaking. So she said, what happened? And she has her coffee. And I said, I know this is going to sound nuts because you could chalk it up to a nightmare. But last night, around 2 a.m., I had this dream that this black entity with a hat. And as I said that, because when I started talking, she always had this beautiful smile, Kelly, the smile that lit up the room. So as she went to sip her coffee, when I said that, the coffee fell right out of her hand and her face turned to absolute terror. And I said, "What's going on? You okay?" And she said, "Black hat. Did he have a jacket on, like all the way down? Did it have face that you couldn't see anything? It was super pitch black." And I said, "Yes." She said, "Did it run after you?" And I said, "Yes." And then she started crying. And she told me the same night that I had the dream, at the same time, she had the same dream. The only difference was mine was, remember when I told you in the beginning, as I was walking down the street, on the sidewalk, walking home, I just seen somebody like cross the street? Well, hers was different. Hers was when she was walking to go into the house, it was coming from up the block. Like when you turned the corner to get it to go to my house, well, it's like it was coming from the opposite direction, walk. And when she looked up, and I guess not that it had eyes, but I'm just going to say like locked eyes or whatever, it froze her. And she said she froze, fumbled her keys. And then when she looked again, she said it took off. And this was her words. She said, like an Olympic sprinter. And that right there just like totally freaked me out. I was so scared of that dream, right? And I don't even know if it's still a dream. It was so vivid that I never even looked it up. I didn't want to look it up anymore. Because the couple of times that I told the story after, I had problems sleeping for days after. And I think I may have a grip on it now. I hope I do. I'll let you know soon. But that's basically it. It was just... I come to find out later that there's this thing called the Hat Man. And I've heard stories of people, and there has to be something behind this because the stories are too similar, and it's all people that don't know each other. And that's basically it. That's my story on the Hat Man, and it only happened that one time, and that was enough.
Like I said, there's going to be 2 questions for me and 2 questions from Anthony. But before I get to those 2 questions, I have to ask this. I apologize. I have to make sure for this incident, were there any alcohol in your system, any drugs in your system that could have made you hallucinate?
No, not at all.
Okay. I hate to ask that kind of question, but I got to make sure there was no outside interference with the...
No, I was actually coming home from work. It was one of the, I used to work 14 to 16 hour days. And it was one of those that by the time I got home, it was just probably a little after midnight or so. And I had the dream around 2 a.m.
So my first question is, what's so amazing about it is not exactly what you saw, because then, somebody could say, oh, you just saw this, you saw a shadow, you didn't really see anything. But what tripped me out is you went to work, talked to a coworker, correct? It was a coworker, not a family member, just a regular coworker, and she had almost the exact same image. I mean, honest, on the same night. What are the chances of that? To this day, do you and this worker of yours ever still talk about it, or you guys kind of separately never talked about it with each other again?
No, and just to clarify, yeah, we were co-workers for many years, but she was also my downstairs neighbor in the same house. Okay, that's what I mean. Kelly lived downstairs, right underneath me.
Connection, not a family blood connection, in the same building.
Same residence.
Friends and co-workers, like that. And what was the question again? I'm sorry, because have you and your coworker ever since then talked about this incident that you guys have? No, I attempted to, because after she broke down, we didn't talk about that, and I attempted to bring it up. I don't know, it was during a company party or something, and she just started crying. She says, please don't ever bring it up to me again. So I just never did. I never told anybody. I think I told maybe one other person, and then when I was driving to Anthony's house, the first time I went to Anthony's house, I don't know why. I just wanted to say hi to everybody and do a quick update stream from my phone, and that story came out of me, and that got me good because it was a mistake. I couldn't sleep for days.
Now, for my second question, and then we'll have Anthony do his 2 questions. Since you had this incident, some people say when you have a major incident, sometimes a door is open, that you start seeing more things. Might not be exactly the hat, but other things. You start seeing more because of this. Have you, since that night, have you seen other things, or you're seeing more things because of that one incident?
Now, I don't know if it was because of that incident, and nothing happened right after. There wasn't, but there is a shadow here that I originally thought was like the floaters in my eye or something like that, or just being tired, think you maybe see a shadow but you're just tired. No, there's a legitimate shadow here, but I don't know if they're connected. But when you say a door open, there's one thing I forgot to mention. The one thing Kelly did tell me was something about, and I don't understand it, but do you have a mirror on your door? And I said, yeah, actually I do. Like on the bedroom door, like, you know, when you get dressed, you have one of those full-length mirrors so you could look. And I said, yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but she just said, no, you can't have a mirror on the door. Something about having a mirror on the door, the bedroom door. And I did have one, but I don't know what that has to do with her, because I don't remember her saying if she had one. But
I have a mirror, but it's above it's behind the bed. It's like above the bed. So hopefully that does not. But Anthony, it's your floor. You have 2 questions to ask him.
What's up, Ron? Yeah, so you and I had the opportunity to have this discussion about the Hat Man that one time when you brought it up. And then I did some research on it, and I found out that it's led to believe that the Hat Man is a demonic entity. So since you have had contact with that being known as the Hat Man, has there been any more contact either in your dreams or any odd things going on in your home? Things moved out of place or weird sounds that you can't explain or anything like that?
Well, I haven't had a dream of the Hat Man again, but I have violent dreams. Nothing like, aside from the shadow that's here, and the shadow comes and goes. Like there could be a week that it's just very active, then I don't see it for 3 months. But I have violent dreams, I've noticed, ever since then, all these years, because this happened in 1996. So it's a long time. I have very violent dreams, meaning I don't have happy ones. I always have ones of a lot of people attacking me and like hurting me, and then me waking up 3 times a night like that. So is that connected? I don't know. But
well, funny that you mentioned that, because I also found out among doing a ton of different research between UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, that the shadow beings, some of those entities are just purely evil, and they like to come in and sit on your chest while you're asleep to make you have frightening dreams, nightmares, in fact, because when you're in that state of mind, it's easier for them to like cross over into our realm when you're having a nightmare. So do you have nightmares very often, or they're few and far between, or how does it work with you?
I have them a lot. Like I said, and it's weird, it's funny and not funny that you said something about that they sit on your chest, because besides of being overweight or anything like that, I had sleep apnea. I don't have it really much anymore, but I always wake up that it feels like I stopped breathing, like if you had sleep apnea. But I have it where I feel like I can't breathe, and I'll wake up gasping for air, and it happens a lot with the violent dreams. And if I have a good dream, it's forgotten so easily because they just don't happen. It's always like terror dreams.
Night terrors. If I were you, I would either have a priest come in and bless the house, Ron, or maybe buy some sage and have Amber walk you in and teach you how to smudge the room to get that evil entity out. You might have something there in the home.
I'm going to ask
off you.
one bonus question for everybody. Yes, there is one bonus question. I've never heard the story from you until today. And I know you told the story to Anthony driving. Is there a reason kind of now that you're coming out with the story? Is there, or have you told the story in the past like this kind of format? I'm just wondering why now?
No, I've only told this story. This is the fourth time. I told the story to Kelly the next morning. That first time. The time that I did the live stream when I was headed to Anthony, that's twice. And actually, maybe that's the only 2 times I said it because I don't remember it. That's how bad it was that I didn't want to. Oh, no. Then the second time, it's not considered telling the story, was when I brought it up to Kelly again and she said, don't bring it. So today is the 3rd time I've ever talked about it. And I usually don't like talking about it because the last time I did, I struggled. Everybody noticed it on my live streams. I wasn't sleeping. I didn't sleep for 3 nights straight ahead. I didn't sleep for like 80 hours. So
you're really afraid to conjure this thing back up, man. So you think in your head, by you talking about it, you're going to conjure it up. You seem worried about that.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I didn't talk about it before that stream, not because I was worried about. I didn't know if it would be conjured up. That story is just so disturbing. I don't like to think about it.
Right.
But that last time when that happened, now I don't know what I did, but maybe I did a mind job on myself with it. But it affected me a lot because I just kept thinking about it. And the more you think about it, it's creepy. It's really, really, because looking at that thing, it's like, you ever see on the internet when they show that new black that they discovered, that it's the darkest color? That's what this looked like a bottomless black hole. That's how black it was.
I just want to say, Ron, I appreciate you coming to this show today and giving us this story. This really, truly means a lot, and I hope nothing happens because you came on here. I don't want to feel that I'm responsible to hear something negative from Anthony next day on a phone call. Hey, did you hear about Ron? No, I don't need that. So I want to thank you again for dropping on, and I'm going to say one last thing to the people. I want to thank Ron and Anthony for joining us. It was awesome. I'm going to say one thing to the people, and we'll end this show. The question of, does our energy go somewhere? There's a good thing about that. There's also a bad side about that. When you hear about a shadow person, man, a story I've never even heard of before, and now it's going to cause me to start researching on how many people have had stories about seeing a black figure with the hat. That's not a good energy. So even though I'm looking for the quest of knowing if our energy does exist, this story kind of tells me it can. But with evil, with good, there's evil. So sometimes searching what you're looking for might not always be on the bright side. The only thing I gotta say is, if you guys have run into a figure like this, there's no easy answer to say what to do. What do you do? Only thing you do is talk to your. Anthony says, have your house blessed? Maybe that'll be a good way to help try to resolve that issue. I don't have an answer for that, but there are people that is willing to listen to hear you out, and I hope for the best for Ron. So on my quest of searching, is there energy after life? I believe there is. But with good, there's evil. I want to thank you guys for being here today, and I want to make sure you subscribe and hit that alert bell. And what I want you to do, if you have a question for Ron, you have a direct question, go in the comments, capitalize the word question, and ask Ron a question. And if Ron hasn't seen the comments, I'll get a hold of Ron and say, hey, some people actually have some questions. And I guarantee Ron next day, maybe 48 hours, will answer your question. So you can still be part of this show. Just leave a question, highlight it, and I'll let Ron know that there's about 3-4 people that have a question for you. So beyond that, I want to thank you guys for being here and watching this. Without you, there's no show. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next time on the Paranormal Highway.